Darren said to me, if you do this part, I think after we met for 5 minutes, he told me how I ruined my career for 15 years. And then he said, if you do this with me, you have to do everything I tell you. You have to, just like this, you have to do everything I say, and you could never disrespect me. You can't stay out all friggin' night, you know. And I said, okay. And then I thought, and I can't pay you. And I went, he better be talented because, you know, to say all that, I thought, you know, he's got a lot of balls. You know, there's a certain way I would land like a brick and, you know, really like hurt every bone in my body. And then I'd be off to getting another MRI. And, you know, finally I was learning how to land the right way. Because in the beginning it was frustrating because, you know, we were trying to pack in, you know, these guys take several years, like any profession, to learn their trade. And we were trying to, you know, to jam that into 4 months. And eventually it clicked in and I got a rapport with the wrestlers and I got I grew to respect the sport for what it was. It's not like boxing where you go out and you really try to hurt somebody purposely. These guys get hurt, and I got to give them a lot of credit and love for this, because they get hurt because they feed off the adrenaline of the audience, and they, you know, they fly over the ropes, and they do land on, they miss the mats lots of times, and they, you know, or they take the hits with those metal chairs, and sometimes you get hit with the wrong angle. So a lot of these guys, when we did the research, you know, we'd Google them and look up where they are now. Most of them, you know, can't walk, and are, there's a couple guys who were actually paraplegics. They were really well-known guys. We found out about Lex Luger and like the, you know, the Iron Sheik. I mean, these guys, some of these guys can't even, you know, have trouble just, you know, getting up out of a chair, and so they really sacrificed their bodies for like just for the audience. They just got this love for the audience, and they live in the moment to hear all the screaming and yelling. We incorporated that move. I never did it right. I did it in the gym, and, you know, I'm falling all over the place. I mean, I kind of had it. It's when he's standing outside the ring, he pushes down, comes over, wraps his legs around the guy's neck, and then tucks and flips the guy over. So we were shooting this movie while live wrestling matches were going on. So in between, we'd go in and do our wrestling. So, you know, there's, you know, 3,000-4,000 people there, and I'm thinking, oh man, if I end up like screwing this up, I'm going to look like shit, you know. And so I said, I got to nail this the first take, because I didn't nail it in any rehearsals at all. I came close 3 or 4 times. So I just thought to myself, okay, if you do it and you have the balls to nail it one time and get it, that's it. Darren's going to have to print it, and I'm going to go, I'm not doing it again. So I was able to nail it, and I was more proud of that than any of the acting stuff. So we nailed it on the first take, and it was like my birthday, you know. I get a call from Miami, and he said, I got a song, and I said, okay, So I took Darren Aronofsky, who I don't even know if he knew who Springsteen was. I mean, he still listens to the Beastie Boys, you know, and brought him there, and Darren's like flipped out. He'd never seen like 80,000 people going crazy with carrying signs and shit in a giant stadium, and he's going, they really like this guy. I go, where you been? You know. So we watched the show. We went backstage, and I introduced the two of them, and then I said, Bruce, would you talk with Darren for a minute? You know, I went in the other room, and Darren was left with Bruce. Next thing, I was in another room, and Bruce had an acoustic guitar there, and he started playing for Darren the wrestler song, and, you know, the rest is history. Absolutely no respect for the sport at all. Actually, you know, being an ex-professional fighter, it was just a sport that I just thought I had no respect for. I didn't look at it as a sport, even, which I probably was. I was ignorant to prejudging it that way, because I didn't know how dedicated these guys are. I didn't know that you do have you have to have a different type of athletic training and athleticism. So I was wrong in my judging that sport the way I did. So I have to take all that back. I'm very proud of the movie. I think it's the hardest movie I've ever made, and I think it's the best movie I ever made. So, and I'm glad I've told people earlier. I was so glad the day it ended because it was hard. I didn't get out of bed for 4 days. He knows what he wants, when he wants it, where he wants it, and he he's very driven. Because he's so smart. It's very easy to work for him because he can. It's very easy for him to make a minor adjustment, and you go, oh, maybe you didn't think of, and it actually can make you better. It can help your performance. If you're not in shape, he'll break you down. So, you better do your homework, and you better be ready to give it all, or this little nerdy dude will reduce you to dust.